There are superheroes that protect cities, and then there are the superheroes you wish were protecting your city. That was Zane. Zane didn't wear a mask, he walked freely among the people, and he was one of the most powerful superheroes, keeping thousands of people safe every single day. But Zane had a problem. Zane couldn't beat this new villain that emerged into town. He would appear out of nowhere, kill massive amounts of people, and escape before Zane could stop him. It didn't matter how fast Zane was, how strong he was, how many portals he made so he could teleport. The villain always eluded him, and after the latest massacre, Zane was getting really upset. "Oh, thank God, you're here!" The woman collapsed in Zane's arms as he surveyed the crime scene. "Please," Zane said, "I need to find who did this." He killed my, the woman said. She started crying, and Zane surveyed the crime scene. A police officer managed to get the woman away from Zane, and Zane surveyed 4 victims, all with their hearts teleported out. It was a senseless murder done by a superpowered target. And most importantly, no leads. "Any DNA?" Zane said. The detective shook his head. "Listen, kid, this might be too much, even for you." Zane whirled around. "What do you mean?" Zane said. "Do you know how many villains I've stopped? How many thousands of people I've protected all this time?" The detective looked at his feet. Zane knew how grateful he was for him, and yet he felt insulted. He didn't do all of the other things that the superheroes did. He didn't parade around calling himself something other than his own name, and yet this act of senseless violence, these bodies on the ground, they were his responsibility. Zane conjured up a portal of dark energy and walked through it. In the realm of darkness, Zane looked at the shifting shapes and walked out of a portal like it was nothing, on the tallest building of the city, looking down. "Where are you?" Zane said to the villain. He surveyed the city all night and didn't find anything. He slept on a rooftop, waiting for a call, the call that he knew would eventually come. "Zane!" a voice said, waking him up from his slumber. He'd only been awake for an hour, and yet, "He's here, Zane! He's..." A voice killed on the other end of the line. Zane conjured a portal and went over to the crime scene as quickly as he could, but as soon as he was there, the villain was already gone. 6 bodies, hearts teleported out of their chest. Zane fell to his knees. "Where are you?" Zane said, screaming at the void. But the villain was already gone. There was something different this time. It wasn't a villain that Zane could use dark energy to fight against, to be stronger than and beat. The villain knew that every time Zane would come, he would beat him, and so the villain was faster. "I need to find where he's going to strike next," Zane said. The detective pulled into the scene, haggard. He took notes, looking at Zane with a skeptical eye. "What?" Zane said. The detective shook his head and looked at the ground. Days without sleep, Zane was looking, but the villain was being quiet. Zane couldn't find anything about where he looked. He went into the realm of darkness and looked at the shifting shapes, portals opening throughout the city, where he could keep eyes on everyone. People in the city oftentimes said that Zane arrived the second before danger came. This method of assessing danger had never failed him, until now. "Where are you?" Zane said. His pride was wounded. His city had a reputation to uphold, and it was being ruined by this heart snatcher. Who was the heart snatcher? His scanner buzzed. It was different in the realm of darkness, but Zane knew where it was. He walked through, and again, the villain eluded him. 10 victims in the middle of an arcade, their hearts snatched out of their chest. Zane fell to the ground, sobbing. Nobody could see him cry, but he felt completely alone, defeated. How? How had it gotten to this point? He used to be great, and now he was completely done. Finally, sleep overtook his body. Zane slept in an alleyway, waiting for a moment for a criminal to come. And yet, when he heard the scanner, he felt something deep inside. The realm of darkness. A flash. He saw it when he was waking up from his sleep. A flash of his hand on someone's chest. What did it mean? Could the villain use the realm of darkness too? He was so confused. When he woke up, he wasn't in the alley. He was in a subway car, surrounded by bodies with their hearts snatched out of their chest. Where are you? Zane screamed. He thought he saw something move in the darkness, in the shadows. He jumped after it, teleporting from car to car to car of the subway. He saw something just outside of his reach, out of his vision. But every time he teleported closer and closer to it, it got further and further away. Every body on the train with their hearts snatched out of their chest. Zane couldn't catch him. He was completely defeated. Zane sat on the subway for hours, watching it turn, thinking, the villain must have access to the realm of darkness, have some ability to get closer and closer to him, but the detective sat across from Zane. Find anything? The detective said, his eyes looking into Zane's, quizzically. That was it. Zane's eyes widened. He conjured a portal, pulling the detective into it. The detective screamed, looking at the wide shapes of the realm of darkness. What are you doing? The detective said. I've got you, Zane said. You're the Heart Snatcher, aren't you? Zane, you're the Heart Snatcher, the detective said. What? Zane said. I know it's you, the detective said. Think about it. Every time you go to sleep, a murder happens. Zane fell to his knees in the realm of darkness. But I'm a superhero. Zane, all the nights without sleep, so much power in the realm of darkness. I mean, look at this place. Anybody with your abilities would go and say, that's not true, Zane said, pushing the detective through the portal. They were in the middle of the city now. Zane was surrounded by people that loved him. He whirled around in his purple cloak, looking at people in the eyes. The detective put his hands up, right in front of Zane. Look, I get it if you want to kill me, but the violence isn't going to stop until you leave, the detective said. Zane's eyes filled with darkness. He conjured out tentacles of shadow, pulling the detective up. What's happening? Somebody in the crowd said. This man's the Heart Snatcher, Zane said, looking the detective in the eyes. The detective looked at Zane with something other than fear. Something other than awe that all the people in the city had. He looked at him with pity, like looking at a bug that's never going to get outside of a window. Zane jumped into the realm of darkness and hid. He hid in the darkness. He didn't want to leave. He walked around the realm of darkness, seeing the shifting shapes. He never understood this place. He only used it as a conduit, and yet the detective's words rang true. If I just leave, Zane said. He conjured up a portal to an island in the middle of the ocean. He stepped out onto the island, watched the waves on the shore. And Zane fell to his knees, looking out over the horizon. Because if Zane really admitted it to himself, all the long nights, all the pressure, everything, if he really looked back in his mind, he saw it. The Heart Snatcher. The detective was right. The Heart Snatcher was him. Darkness flooded in. Half of Zane's face went completely dark. Zane screamed as his dark hand started choking him, taking the air out of his lungs. The Heart Snatcher inside Zane's mind started laughing, laughing, laughing. You think it's fair that you can just save all these lives without taking something in return? Zane said to his good half. The detective was right. He was completely cracked. He was losing air. He fell to his side on the beach, watching the sunset, the sun setting on his life. Is this how he would die? What would happen if the light half of him died and the dark half lived? Zane screamed, pulling himself into the realm of darkness. He had never done this before, but he closed every single portal. He was alone in the dark. Now you're mine, his dark half said, choking him even harder. Zane felt the air coming out of his lungs, but he just chuckled. You're bluffing, aren't you? Zane said. Zane's dark side laughed, but he could detect nervousness in the laugh. Come on, his side of darkness said. Don't you want to see what you're made of? Don't you want to fight me? No, Zane said, sitting in the darkness, watching the shapes go by. He was perfectly, completely content. Because I know, Zane said, that darkness only wants to destroy. I am not dark. I am good. I'm a superhero. And no matter what side of the darkness screamed at Zane in the dark, he didn't listen to the voice. He was in control. He couldn't trust himself to be around the living, even on a desert island. But this moment, keeping himself in his own realm of darkness, Zane knew he had done his last act of heroism.